beyond of thinking, beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest, owner of the Conquer the Chaos, attended the University of Florida where she received her bachelor's and master degrees in special education. No other than Miss Kerry Thomas.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, Miss Kerry on Abstract Essay, and can you please introduce more about yourself? That I missed.
Sure. I live in Florida. I was raised in Florida and I'm back here very happily after about 25 years. I started my business in 2007 and I love what I do. I help individuals, I help business owners, I also help students, anybody who is overwhelmed with information and overwhelmed with their space. I help them find clarity and peace. And yeah, I'm just very happy to be here.
Yes, and thank you, Miss Kerry, for bringing clarity to the world. For sure, you're building your legacy as well. Thank you. And today, let's talk about all systems go from clutter to clarity. So, Miss Kerry, you state clearly that there is a single number one cause of a clutter in any area of life. Before we reveal it, why is it important to you that readers understand or viewers understand there is a root cause rather than just a collection of bad habits?
That's an excellent question, and I've never been asked that before. I It matters, and I know it matters because when you have clutter, you're not living your best life and you're not living out your purpose, you're not living your life with ease. And if you can narrow it down to that one cause and keep your focus on that one cause and ask yourself questions related to that one cause, you can move forward more quickly.
Certainly. Empowering answer, Miss Carey. Truly empowering. Was there a moment in your life where you discovered this root cause, not intellectually, but viscerally, and realized that organizing tips had been treating the fever while ignoring the infection?
Yes, that's so true. I I believe I figured it out as I was working with my clients. Because when I started my business, I was good at what I did and I was really good at organizing. And yet I knew there was something more because a lot of my clients would go back to the way they'd been, or we would make their space pretty and visually appealing, and yet it still wasn't serving them. And so I started to realize that it goes deeper. It's not just what we see on the surface, but the clutter and the cause of clutter and the effects of clutter go much deeper.
Hmm. Interesting, Miss Carey. Many people believe clutter is about too much stuff. You argue it's about something deeper. What is the most common emotional justification people use to hold on to clutter, and how do you gently dismantle it?
Oh, the most common is I might need this later. And a close second is guilt over who gave it to them. And it's very important because grandma gave this to me, or, so and so gave this to me. So those two are very close, one and two. When it comes to, I might need this later, it's a series of questions to uncover it. Is it serving you now? And I'm not the kind of organizer that comes in and says, it's all got to go. It's got to go. Let's get rid of it now. Let's minimalization is the one and only answer. I've actually been known on more than one occasion to say, wait, I think you should keep that because you you can keep anything you want to keep as long as you have the time to deal with it, you have the space for it, it's not affecting you negatively in an emotional way. But you can ask yourself that series of questions like, can I find it easily again? Can I find it somewhere else? That's a big one with paper clutter that people are afraid to get rid of. And they realize, oh, this is on my server at work, or oh, I can get this on the cloud somewhere. And so we go through that series of questions to see, is it fear or is it practical that you really should hold on to this?
Very well said, Miss Carrie. If clutter is simply a visible evidence of a broken system, why do so many intelligence capable people keep trying to try harder instead of examining the system itself?
I'm going to answer that. I'm also going to say that that number one reason that clutter is postponed decisions, that was coined and trademarked by one of my mentors, Barbara Hemphill. That's the main reason. It's not the clutter, it's the decision about the clutter that is tripping people up. It's the lack of the decision making process. And so having good systems in place, it's not just so that your life can be regimented or your office can be regimented and things have to be a certain way. Good systems make it easier to make decisions because you have that framework. And I am all about, with my background in special education, I am all about different brains and different learning styles and everybody um, working differently. And yet, I truly believe that you need some system in place as a framework. And then you're flexible within that framework. But the systems help you make decisions. And the lack of decisions is the number one cause of clutter.
Well, that is amazing to know, Miss Carrie. You use the word systems in our topic. For someone who hears that word and feels immediately exhausted, rigid, corporate, or joyless, how do you reframe what system actually is that what can free them to do?
Yes, systems, they get a bad rap. And a lot of times they get a bad rap because people have been taught this is the way, this is the one and only way, this is how you do it, there's no variation. And that isn't sustainable. That's not going to work. I work with a lot of creative people who have that feeling that you described, or they even they balk at the idea of planning, even because they're like, nope, I'm going to go with the flow, and I'm a creative person, and I'm going to do what comes up. And systems simply mean the framework. So if systems has a bad connotation to you, switch it out, use that word framework. Some people say process when I talk about systems in offices. Some of my clients have switched it to saying, okay, this is the process that I go through. And the process has steps, but maybe if I have a crazy day or my child is sick or my boss needs something immediately, that process still stands, but the order might change, the timing might change, the focus that I put on one of the areas might change. And so that's just a different way of thinking about it that helps some people, because I do understand that resistance, because the word systems, I love it because of what it represents to me, but I understand that certain people view it as a very regimented word.
Well, regimented world or word itself for sure. So, what is the difference between an organized person and a person who has effective systems? Can someone be highly organized and still fundamentally system broken?
Oh, that's another very good question. They can. And I've seen that when people have their items, so to speak, very organized. You think of like a very neat person can be organized in that everything has a place, everything, um, is lined up, is color coded, whatever it may be. And yet they don't have the system of what happens when I have a very busy week, what happens when I have company and everything is thrown out of order. So a system allows you to recover. You don't have to stay 100% completely organized all the time or you feel anxiety. People that have a system for organization can have those ebbs and flows that are perfectly normal part of life and be relaxed about it because they know that's okay. I can get it back. I can recover quickly.
Certainly, Miss Carrie. And you argue that the clutter exists in any area of life: time, relationships, digital space, health. Was there an area you personally resisted examining because the clutter that was protecting you from something?
Mm. I I think probably almost all of them at different points of my life. I think the most recent one was or is I'm still readjusting time clutter. I recently had a very serious medical scare and it's caused me to reevaluate what I'm spending time on and what I'm giving my attention to. And I think the clutter part of that was I, like many entrepreneurs that I work with, ironically, I was stuck in a lot of the minutia and the busy work and um, feeling busy and feeling like, oh, well, I worked for 5 hours today. And yet it wasn't really. It was it was a form of clutter. It was not focusing on my priorities. And like I said, that is ironic because that's one of the number one things that I help people do. But that's the most recent one. I mean, I've had clutter in relationships, I've had clutter in my home. I mean, we're all human, and the time is just the most recent one for me.
Miss Carrie, if the system is working, it should feel almost invisible. So, what is the most common sign that someone has built a performative system, one that looks like good built or good but is not actually serving them?
So I think, as I said, a good system you can tell by the time of recovery when things get kind of crazy in your world, how quickly you can recover. Another sign of a good system is it doesn't take much effort or heavy lifting. It works for you in the background. Um, a simple example of that is in your office or in your home office or even just in your home, a form of a system is having a designated inbox or a designated place to put your mail or incoming papers. And so having that one spot, everyone in your office or everyone in your family knows where to put the paper. It After you have it in place and you all agree on where it's going to be and how it's going to work, you don't think about it again. It's not a weekly review of, oh, is my inbox working properly? You just know that this is where mail goes. And this is, everyone in our family puts the mail in this spot. You don't have to revisit it. So that's a sign that it's a good system. Is you're not constantly tweaking. You just, you let it go. That's not to say that you won't ever tweak your systems, but it, they run for the most part in the background well. And then a sign that a system is not effective would be is it's you still have the original problem. So if you needed a system for files, which is something that I work with often, and you put in a system but you still can't find what you need when you need it, or you still don't know how to file papers quickly, then that system is not effective. And that example came to me quickly because that's one that I deal with all the time.
Very well said, Miss Gary. Walk me through the visual learner who has been told their entire life to file it away or put in a drawer. What do they actually need that they are not being given?
I love that question. So, for very visual people, you're right. Sometimes you can have your file drawers and put it away if you have a good system to find it. But a lot of people that are visual have that fear, that out of sight, out of mind fear. And the biggest one, it just happened with a client yesterday, is we think that, a regular office supply that everyone has are the stacking trays that have, the two or three slots. And for a very visual learner, everything that goes in those bottom trays, it's like a black hole. They can't, it just disappears down in there. So understanding that and maybe just having one tray or using some pockets on the wall. I had a very visual client who not only did she not want to put the files in the file drawer, she had a negative reaction to even like a file folder. She didn't want a file folder. She didn't even like putting things in file folders. So we went through a progression. Okay, do you want to use a binder? Maybe, a series of binders that could be color coded, but nope, didn't want to do a binder. We talked about some type of system that was open on her desk because visual people do well with open systems. Nope, didn't want to do that. So we finally settled on a series of clipboards up on the wall. She had someone in her office make a holder with some nails, and she had each client, all the information for that client on a clipboard, and they were on the wall. She could take that clipboard and use it when she needed it, but they were all out all the time. And luckily, she was an event planner, so she didn't have 100 clients at a time. She had more like 10 or 12 going. But the the um, the visual learner, it's very real. That out of sight, out of mind fear.
A great example, Miss Carrie. So, what is the most counterintuitive recommendation you make for kinesthetic learner or someone who is often pathologized as a messy or chaotic?
Oh, counterintuitive. I think it would have to be for kinesthetic would be to go ahead and put things in different parts of your office or your workspace and not have it all just lined up perfectly neat in one small little area. Because if you have, let's say, a whiteboard over here, or you have your printer over here, I generally teach that everything you use should be right within an arm's reach. But a kinesthetic learner does well with those natural built-in excuses, shall we say, to get up and go to another part of their office. So that would be the most counterintuitive one that actually works.
Certainly, Miss Carrie. So, what are your short term and long term goals as well, honor and conquer the chaos?
My short term goal is to get back to a full workload after not being well the last month. So that's my short term goal, very, very clear. My long term goal is to grow my group program. So I run a program for women a few times a year where we look at all types of clutter. I teach everything about their physical, their digital, and then we deal a lot with internal clutter and developing a toolkit for that. And I've run the group successfully. This will be my next one will be 8 times, but I would like to grow it even more. And that is the most. I love my clients that I go to their offices and their homes, but my group program, I believe, is the most impactful thing we that I do. And you mentioned legacy when we first came on, and that has been a big thought of mine as I've been recovering. What is my legacy? And I view my legacy as that Frustration to Freedom group.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Carrie, and looking forward for more success. And what will be a piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
But do what works. Don't try to fit into a box of what's organized, what's a good business, what's a good, um, yeah, just do what works for you. Find what that is.
Mhm,
We all have our
mhm.
strengths and go with them.
Yes. Go with the flow, people, where you are happy and have the passion of what you're doing. Thank you for that inspiring advice, Miss Carrie. If a clutter is evidence of a broken system, what does a chronic lifelong clutter say about someone's relationship with their own worth?
That's a big one. Um, it obviously we can make that correlation, um, and I think it's even deeper than that. It's there's a lot of fear involved with it, um, a lot of despair that it's too late. I see that a lot. Like I've been this way. I've been disorganized. I can't, like other people can do that. It's too late for me. And I think that greatly affects your worth, your view of yourself. And it's not. Um, it's not too late because you think of what's on the other side. You think of living a life that feels easier. You know where to find things. You can like actually move within your living space more easily. You can invite friends over. You can um, not waste time looking for your keys, very practical things. So it's never too late. I mean, my last group, I had, people in their 80s. And that I think is what drives me is I see people living a life that's less fulfilled and less joyful than it could be because of the clutter, and they feel like it's too big. It's too much. It's been this way for decades. It's just too much, and it's not. You just have to start small, and you have to have like a little bit of a plan, but it's not too late.
Yes, people, it's not too late. Come
Mhm.
on, it's just starting. So, Miss Carrie, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season. Abstract poetry in the third season, and my book 101 review in sixth season as well. Comedy 101 in the third season, and my food 101 in sixth season too. Geography 101 love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 our fourth season or fifth season, science 101, sex 101 fourth season, Spiritual Awakening, Trivia 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and of course, Book 101, Bible Verses 101 are my baby podcasts. So please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Carrie, you help people to create external order, but has this work changed your relationship with your own internal clutter, your mind, your emotions, or your attention?
Completely. Completely. And I learned something from every single client. I have learned and witnessed resilience and creativity, and um, I'm just always inspired, which then affects me internally.
Very well said, Miss Carrie. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yes, you're showing my website here. That's the best place to find out everything about me. And as I mentioned, I have the next group program starting soon. So you can, under the website there, the tab that says Clutter Coaching, that's where you would look.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Kerry Thomas because if you support her for sure, more and more decluttering will rise in your life. So, Miss Kerry, I have one more question before I will let you go. Imagine someone read your topic in your website. What implements every element that creates a life of perfect clarity? What do you hope they discover they know have the freedom to do, not just with their space, but their one wild and present life?
Oh, wow. Um, know your vision, know what you want, know how you want to feel in your space, in your life, as you said, in your one wild and precious life. How do you want to feel, not just when you arrive, but at the whole process? And that's the big thing that I tell my clients is it's not that one day you're going to have an organized office or an organized home. We're all going through life and it's going to ebb and flow, but what can you do right now to increase that peace and that joy?
Indeed, Miss Kerry Thomas, thank you so much for your time and good luck and more power to your business.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Monica people, see you soon.